In this video, I'm going to give you a clear example of why you should not believe everything you see, read, and hear on social media. I'm going to give you an example of a video where some chap is giving what sounds like legal advice, but it's all completely misguided, misconceived, and quite simply dangerous. Now, I'm going to say at the outset that I am absolutely not being rude in what I say about this video and about this chap's comments, but I must say it because I feel it's my duty to clarify these things, because he obviously has an audience, I have an audience, but with respect to him, I am the one qualified to provide this kind of guidance and clarity on the things that he says. If you come to social media and you want some guidance, whether it's legal guidance, medical guidance, or so on, I would only urge you to come to someone such as myself. I am a barrister and I can provide legal guidance, and you can trust that it's correct. Much like if you want to go to YouTube for guidance on medical matters, you would look up a doctor that you can verify as a real doctor. Same as a dermatologist or an optometrist or a financial expert or whatever it might be. Check the credentials and check that who you are listening to is actually giving you valuable information. So with that said, I'm going to show you some clips of a video that I found on TikTok and explain what the reality is as against what he says and why he's wrong. Listen to this.
Hey, what's up? My last law TikTok blew up, so I'm just going to clarify some of the comments that were made. If there is no direct wet ink signature on a contract between you and a corporation, you and another company, let's just say you get a parking ticket from some private company, just ask them for the contract. Just say, hi, thank you so much for your fine, bill, whatever. Please send me the contract so I can read over the terms and conditions. That contract doesn't exist, which means there could be no debt.
Now, this is completely inaccurate because you do not need to have a written signature, much less a wet ink signature, or any signature at all for any kind of contract, because contracts can and very often are concluded by way of conduct. And using the parking example that he used here, they are what we refer to as an automated contract. In other words, there will be signs around the car park that contain the terms that are implying an offer to you to park on that car park in exchange for a certain amount of money. And by parking there, you are accepting those terms of the contract, even though you haven't signed anything, you haven't written anything, you haven't emailed anybody or anything else. Just by parking on the car park, you are accepting the terms of that contract, and a contract is formed. If you fail to pay, or you fail to park within the bay, or you fail to park in the right place, or you overstay, or any of these kind of things, then that is deemed to be a breach of that contract, and they can enforce the terms of the contract against you. And one of those terms of the contract might well be that there is a levy of a charge against you for overstaying as an administrative charge that they are going to chase you for payment and charge you this for the breach of the contract. The Supreme Court has decided that these are not fines for the purpose of a penalty. This was in the Parking Eye and Beavis case of 2015. So regardless of any signature at all, there is a contract and you do owe the money under the contract. So please don't believe posts like this to the contrary. Let's keep listening.
This is in the Bills of Exchange, 1886.
Now, first of all, it's 1882, not 1886. But the Bills of Exchange Act doesn't work in the way that he seems to think, which is a common misunderstanding. A bill of exchange, in simple terms, you can think of as an unconditional order in writing addressed to one person by another. And it's often used for things like credit instruments, but the vast majority of you watching are never going to have anything to do with these. But it doesn't refer to contracts in the normal way that you would go and contract with somebody on a daily basis, such as parking your car. That's just not how this act works.
This also works in credit card companies. This is quite dangerous information. But if you have a credit card that you applied for online and you don't want to pay it, just contact the company and say, please send me the original wet ink signature that I signed in order for this debt to exist. And you'll find that it doesn't exist. The signature doesn't exist, which means there's no debt, which means your debt is written off. You don't need to pay back the credit card company if you don't have a contract with them. They're lending you the money without there being a contract.
Not having physically signed a contract does not mean that the contract doesn't exist. It does not mean that the debt doesn't exist. The contract very much does exist and the debt very much does exist. If you signed up for a credit card online and you have electronically accepted those terms of the contract online, then the contract exists and the debt exists. And if you fail to repay it, you may very well have the credit card company coming after you. Now, if the amount is more than £5,000, which is the bankruptcy threshold for an individual, and you fail to pay it, one possible outcome is that the credit card company will petition for your bankruptcy, and this will turn your life upside down because the insolvency practitioners will come to look at any and all assets that you have that they can take control of and sell to settle the debt. So he's right in saying that this is dangerous information, but dangerous in a different way than he means. He thinks it's dangerous because it's dangerous for the credit card companies, but it's quite the reverse. It's dangerous for any of you watching my video now that have believed this that's on social media beforehand. Now, as I said at the outset of the video, I am not being rude in any sense at all. But I'm urging you to please not believe this kind of stuff that you find on social media because it is dangerous, but it's dangerous for you. So please do like this video if you found the clarification useful and send it to somebody who you think is going to be in trouble if they watch and believe this kind of video on any other kind of platform. And as always, thank you for watching.